Good morning. I'm former Cabinet Secretary Edwin Lacierda from Pinoy's administration.
And I'm former Cabinet Secretary Relly Fajardo from President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's administration.
And we are the spokes. From the palace halls then to our group chats now,
We'll be giving you conversations that will make you think and assess.
so that you could come up with your own personal opinion. So for our first hot headline noted by the spokes, DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla disclosed that former Congressman Saldico has sent feelers through priest. Oh,
Ayan na naman siya.
utos ng Pangulo?
I mean, alam mo, Atty. Edwin, medyo marami na tayong narinig kay Secretary John Vic na hindi pa nangyayari. So,
Sa akin, the most yung kanyang expose when we interviewed him the last time.
December 17, I remember
and
it very clearly.
he promised within 10 days there will be an arrest. But wala pa, only until now.
Yeah. At saka, kasama naman pala yung pitong from DPWH. Pero ako naman, I really hope na totoo ito, Attorney, no, yung sinasabi niya, Sec. Kasi I think it's really about time that Saldico give his peace and at yung niya na physically we see him, hindi yung through online lang.
Yun na nga eh. So, when John Vic was here, he described Saldico as a rich poor man. Kasi mayaman pero nakapagtago.
Limited rin yung kanya mga action. So, tingin mo ba, Attorney, nakukonsensya na si si Saldi?
Hindi, mag-state witness yan, pero I don't think papasayan sa pagka-state witness.
Kasi bakit sa mga pare at sa religious sector siya lalapit? Wala siyang tiwala sa kahit na sino.
Siguro, parang sana may road to Damascus experience din itong si Saldico. But you know what? His testimony is important because he's the only one who can link and drag former Speaker Martin Romualdez to the flood control corruption. So, may allegations na, di ba?
Yes.
Extraneous to Saldico that somehow Martin Romualdez is also involved.
If you know him, I would really advise him.
You know him?
If you know him, I don't know him. Pero, if I do, I really advise him na, I know it's not that simple, pero it's still better na lumabas na lang rin siya. Kasi galit na galit yung taong bayan sa kanya at sa pamilya niya.
Pansin mo ba na nahuli si...
Mabuti pang magsabi na siya na lang.
Si Revilla nahuli, parang no big deal. So parang ang tao is waiting for someone like
someone
the other
bigger.
or incumbent senators to be arrested. No? So anyway, interesting na Saldico sent the feelers after the issuance of the Senate Minority Report. So tingnan natin kung anong mangyayari dito.
And the Minority Report.
Also noted by the spokes, Senator Bato de la Rosa issued a statement on his 64th birthday yesterday, declaring he remains patient, composed, and dignified. Naks naman. Ganda naman ng statement ni... I read the statement of
64 years old na siya. Kung hindi pa siya nag-birthday, hindi pa siya magsasalita.
Kung nasaan kayo, Senator Bato de la Rosa, belated happy birthday.
Belated happy birthday, sir!
At saka lumabas na kayo.
Oo nga.
Yan ang birthday greeting ng taong bayan sa inyo.
Yan ang response natin sa kanya. About time na magsalita na rin siya and at the same time, pumasok na siya sa Senate.
But it's basically, ayaw niya magpahuli because he will be repatriated to The Hague.
Yeah.
And he's claiming that the position taken by the others is it's a surrender of our sovereignty.
Yes, that's his claim, yeah.
But anytime you enter into a treaty, there's a derogation of sovereignty because you're dealing with other countries. You have to there's a committee agreements made. And somehow there will be some give and take. And one of the reasons why ICC or the Rome Statute, we signed into that because perhaps we anticipated that there will be some leaders who will be so influential that you cannot have due process within the court system.
Pero bottom line is that we haven't seen the ICC warrant of arrest, Atty. Edwin. Diba? So,
dami na nagsabi meron. So,
meron, pero sinasabi ni John Vic, hindi niya pa nakikita ni Secretary, di ba? So, but point, pa rin, he is still accountable to the Filipino people, especially to those who voted him. So, he has that responsibility. So, it's really a choice of, his personal... sabi nga ni Kuya Henry kanina, nawala yung tapang ni Senator Bato.
It's nakakasira sa label, sa branding niya. Di ba? Matapang siya. Tapos
And now he's hiding. No?
Oo.
Pero it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate also for him. I understand where he's coming from. No? Kasi iba yung conviction niya about this ICC nga, di ba? And that's why I understand where he's coming from. But at the end of the day, when you make that decision, di ba, ano ba yung mas makakabuti rin para sa taong bayan?
To a certain degree, it's very nakakatawa rin sinabi, I remain dignified when you're escaping accountability.
Yes,
Diba?
oo.
Parang dapat, ituloy mo na, labasan ng tapang natin.
Tsaka kasi nag-proclaim siya, yan ang mahirap ng marami kang sinasabi ng mas maaga. Kasi pinroclaim niya yan na, di ba, dati na, ready siya, whatever happens.
Pag nakulong si Duterte,
siya.
sasama ako sa kanya. So,
Oo
sumama na kayo. Ikaw naman, Senator Bato.
Or hindi, I hope wala naman talaga pang ICC. Pero syempre nga naman, yung nangyari kay PRRD, di ba? He's anticipating also that might happen to him, na he will be caught by surprise pag lang darating yung kanyang warrant of
Incidentally,
arrest.
that Supreme Court case filed by Attorney Torion on the issue of the arrest of President Duterte has not been resolved by the Supreme Court. Wala pa, so we don't know what the Supreme Court will do after that. After kung inaresto si Senator Bato. Oo. Anyway, and for our last headline on Noted by the Spokes, Senator Ping Lacson has lashed out at the Minority Report, saying it symbolizes disrespect not only to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee but to the Senate. I think here, in this case, it's really a question of respect for the process. Normally, and that's why si Tito Soto, si SP Soto, and si Senator Lacson are saying it's parang basura yan because the process is really, you allow the Senate Majority Report to be issued first and then you put out your Senate Minority Report.
Kasi, obviously, wala na silang masyadong... They really don't mind what the majority floor leaders or the Senate President thinks about that. Kasi, nakita mo naman din ang mga comment na ni Senator Amy Marcos, di ba?
Yeah.
I don't think, it's pointless for them na nagko-conduct pa ng Blue Ribbon Committee because they don't believe in the process anymore.
Correct.
Oo.
And, it's to the credit of the Senate minority, it's 576 pages. Medyo pinag-aralan talaga, or at least ginawa nila yan. Sayang naman na they didn't respect the process. My thinking there, it's beyond the process.
Yeah.
It's a lack of collegiality among the senators. Wala na, bastusan na to eh. So
And
parang
we've been seeing that a lot lately,
Yes.
'di ba? No, na hindi na talaga masyadong nirerespeto yung institusyon in Congress or in the Senate. And nakakalungkot talaga kasi even if very significant siguro at maganda yung content ng report na yan, hindi na magiging relevant because of the process, di ba, of what happened.
Ano natatawa ako pinirmahan the Senate Minority Report was signed by 9 senators in the minority, including Bato de la Rosa. So there is, they have access to this guy. And therefore, talagang lumabas ka ng Senator Bato de la Rosa. Pumirma ka ng Senate Minority Report, tapos ayaw mo lumabas. But the
pero
thing
nagtatrabaho pa rin siya, di ba yun yung point
Oo
hindi
nga
siya
raw.
nagpapakita pero nagtatrabaho siya. Kaya lang, yun, remotely.
So, but anyway, it's really more of talagang there's really a lack of respect not only in the process but also among the fellow senators.
Well, I guess they're already very impatient of what's going on, no? With the investigation, obviously talagang they do not really believe in the process anymore of what the Blue Ribbon Committee is doing.
And why do you think Cheese, Joel, and Jingoy did not sign the minority report?
They're being safe. Medyo,
Si Alan Cayetano, sorry.
Alam mo naman, if not for Alan, but for the other senators, sila rin is being implicated. So, if I were them, mas gusto ko nga, siguro sila, ang mas gusto na lang nila, mas tumahimik, wala na sila muna sa limelight.
I agree with you on Joel and si Cheese na
But for Alan.
But for Alan, at the very least, he shows there's respect for the process. That's why maybe perhaps he didn't sign. But anyway, we'll see what will happen to this. So anyway, these are the headlines noted by the spokes today. We will have for our today's guest, former DICT Undersecretary Jeffrey E&D, now a Fintech executive and host of Tech Bytes, will join our discussion when the spokes return after this short break. And the Spokes is back with former DICT's undersecretary and program host of Tech Bytes here on Bilyonaryo News Channel, Jeffrey E.N.D.
Yeah. Yusek, should I call you Yusek Ian?
Of course!
Yes, Yusek, di ba?
Former na nga lang.
Yeah, well, it's always there, di ba? Ganyan daw yung title. How does it feel to be in the hot seat now?
Oo nga, no? Well, I've been
Diba?
here before, so.
So, you've been a government official fundamentally focused on information technologies, cybersecurity, and now you're a media voice. How do you see the public, how do you see how government treats cybersecurity and all the other important tech-related concerns?
I think there's a lot of misinformation going on, especially in IT, ICT, and in cybersecurity.
Sorry, the source, a lot of information, the misinformation coming from whom?
Where?
Actually, minsan nga galing from the ICT itself. No? For example, they just mentioned in 2 press conferences already that blockchain is 101% hack-free. These types of statements are usually from marketing executives, not from academicians, not from people who wanted to teach the public what blockchain is all about. Something like that.
You're saying that there's like miscommunication internally in the department?
Or
Tagarong ka dati, by the way.
hindi naman siguro.
Pero alam mo, most of the, di ba, Atty. Edwin, galing tayo dyan. Ako, ang observation ko with the government agencies, yan yung isang pinaka-weakest point natin, weakest link natin. Communications.
Pero let me just, let's go to the basic muna, no? You mentioned blockchain. We know that buzzword, but ano essentially ang blockchain?
Okay. So there are, before we go to the technicals, let's go to the philosophy of blockchain.
Right.
In the early 2000s, there was a move to democratize currency. Sabi nila, how do we build a currency that is not regulated by any central bank? That idea was crazy. So they built a system where they can create coins and that these coins can be distributed to anyone. But there should be a trust mechanism. So how can you trust something that is inherently or inherently untrusted? Kasi di mo alam kung sino gumawa eh. Di mo alam kung saan nanggaling. So what they did is they created multiple nodes. And each node is checking the other node. And this will only work kung marami yung nodes.
Yung node na, in layman's term, what is a node?
Just a computer.
Right.
So, halimbawa, tatlo
Data.
tayo. So, meron akong ledger of transactions. So, si Jeff may wallet ng 1 Bitcoin, binili ko ng kalabaw. Pag bili ko ng kalabaw, paano ka maniniwala na talagang
may
binili ko
kalabaw,
yun?
oo.
So
Kasi
that
online
particular
lang.
transaction, pinasa ko rin sa'yo. And there is a mathematical algorithm that is going on para ikaw at saka si Sec Edwin, ma-check nila, bumili ba talaga ito ng kalabaw? And that system goes on and on and on.
That's the
called,
platform.
That is called may ledger, no? Distributed ledger. So there's no one source. Alam natin kung ano
Correct.
nangyayari. So alam kung bumili ka ng kalabaw. At kung ibenta naman yung kalabaw na yun to someone
Malalaman
else,
mo.
malalaman nung...
So, i-verify din ng buong community na talagang nangyari yung transaction.
At nangyari, na benta or binili mo.
Or binili, yes.
And you cannot
Tama
sell
ka, dalawa yung transaction.
Yes, and can you sell that without me and Sec Edwin knowing it? Or do you need our consent before you can do the transaction? Not necessarily.
Well, not necessarily. So the mathematical algorithm works in such a way that it will only verify if what I wrote in
It's
that
true.
ledger is potentially true. Wala naman talagang totoong true. Wala naman.
Blockchain does not record truth. It doesn't record honesty.
It doesn't.
So hindi
You just
yan-
need to agree
Pwede tayo,
with each
pwede
other.
sinabing is one Bitcoin, 100 pesos lang
100 pesos.
kalaw, pero talagang binenta mo 1,000. It doesn't
Of course,
Di ba?
of course.
So kung ano ang ni-record mo, yun lang ang marirecord sa ledger.
Correct. And then, ang tinitingnan nyo lang is if in my records, historically, yung wallet ko ba had been acting non-maliciously. Kasi pwedeng malicious yung actions ko eh. Parang Gcash, di ba? Or Paymaya. Kung parang every second, meron kang 100 pesos, 200 pesos, 300 pesos. Pwedeng i-flag yan ng community na, oy, may malicious events na nangyayari dito. Too quick yung mga transactions. So yun yung mga minomonitor nating lahat.
Meaning, kung katulad doon, to the point of example of Sec Edwin, pagka sinabing 100, pero yung GCash mo naman, binili mo na 1,000, pero yung laman lang naman ng GCash mo, 100.
100 lang nakita mo.
Now, relevant to how government uses blockchain and also with the Cadena Act, no? Ang original notion ng blockchain is it's no central authority.
Correct.
There's no permissionless.
Yes, the
And
original.
So, the original, and it's a distributed ledger. No?
That's correct.
And it's not reversible na. Non-alterable ang original conception ng
The
crypto.
items in the ledger
Yes, correct.
are immutable, yes.
The series.
Immutable.
The series.
So now we're using, the government is adopting blockchain techniques. And it's to a certain degree, it should be permission. Kasi hindi ka pwede, hindi permissionless yan, the original concept of ano, di ba? So how does if government uses blockchain, there has to be authority. There has to be people who are going to do the entries. Hindi lahat yan. Kasi pag blockchain, yung public blockchain like Bitcoin, kahit sino pwede ka mag-enter, di ba? Pag may transaction ka. So what's the difference to a certain degree? Why is government using blockchain?
So that's a good question, Sec Edwin. No? So ngayon, when blockchain became so popular, then somebody thought of, why there are so many types of use that for blockchain. One of them is smart contracts, etc. So nag-transform na si blockchain. It's just a form of using a cryptographic signature.
Right.
Parang pinirmahan mo,
Parang
pero sa
stamp
world ng
Electric,
ng
and online.
ng online, no? It's like attaching a particular cryptographic signature. Not only the machine knows, but is verifiable to a document and saying this forms part of a trusted chain. Right. So iba na ngayon yung use na ginagamit for permission. So parang sinasabi ko, kung anumang dokumento ito, kung galing ito sa blockchain, galing ito sa akin. Hindi ko sinasabing totoo yung dokumento, ha? May pagkakaiba yun.
Pero at least matitrace back to you.
Pwede ko lang sabihin na maliwanag na galing akin ito. Pwede kong i-deny yung laman ng dokumento, pero ako ang nag-publish ng dokumento. And if the document needs to be replaced, which happens in government all the time,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Amendments, legal naman yun, no? There
Errors,
could be
diba?
amendments or errors. Then somebody will say, they will be able to track from this document A, may binago ka pala. At nandun pa rin yung record ng lumang dokumento. That's
Correct.
how it works.
So there's a trail.
Yeah.
There's a trail.
And by the way, may timestamp yan, di ba?
May timestamp. Pero ito naman yung catch sa permission. Nawala na ngayon yung massive consensus building of trusted nodes or trusted computers. Kasi from a permission standpoint, kung sino yung leader or authority nung buong node, in the case of the DICT, di ba 4 sila? Sabi nila, hindi ko talaga alam. Sinabi lang nila sa press con nila. Sabi nila, DICT, DBM, COA, among other things. May isa pa I forgot.
Hindi ba kaya ombudsman? Hindi.
Or,
But I remember the 3.
yeah,
Yung
so,
tatlo,
so let's say at least 3. That's so little number of nodes, no? Technically, pwede mo i-manipulate yung 3 node. So, isa yung leader. Hindi ko alam kung sino. Pwedeng DBM ang leader. At sasabihin niya, basta pinasok ko to, mas mataas ang scoring mechanism of trust. Kasi ako nagpasok. Kung ikaw ang nagpasok ng dokumento at ikaw ay hindi leader, ikaw si DICT, si DBM kunyari ang leader, kailangan i-validate ni DBM at ni COA yung ginawa mo. So 3 lang sila nag-uusap. Unlike the original concept, na trustless talaga.
Trustless siya talaga. The thing also is, sino nag-audit? Diba? Parang 3 lang tayo, nag-uusap
Sinong
tayo.
third party, lalo na kung kasama si
Kasi
COA doon sa ano,
Kung,
diba?
let's say, it's supposed to be
Process.
public, so the public should have a chance to see it. Pero my impression is it correct to say that there should be third party but they do not have editing powers?
Okay, now, yan, ito
Pero at least for transparency, di ba?
It's really because of transparency that they're doing this.
Ngayon, papasok na tayo sa technicals ng blockchain. Ano ba yung binili nila? There are rumors na ang binili, well, hindi pala binili. Sabi nila, walang cost, no? And we'll go to that later. Ang kinuha nila is Polygon, which is another blockchain provider, no? Polygon has their own international system of validators. Again, ang validators dito hindi tao. These are just computers checking if you are acting maliciously in order to influence trust.
The validators, are they being accredited by international,
No.
may international standards? Or?
Depending on the style of validation, it could be may hawak lang silang coin at at sila yung mayaman dun sa network na yon. Therefore, they have a higher degree of trust. So if this is within that Polygon chain, Polygon already has a system of validators. The validation, therefore, will happen within that particular network.
Within their ecosystem.
Within their ecosystem. Hindi pa rin sa public.
Correct.
Pero it still happens within their ecosystem.
And then, pag ganyan yan, at no cost to government, but I thought may kahit no cost, di ba dapat may bidding yan?
Oh, tama kayo doon, Sec.
Sorry,
alam niyo naman sa gobyerno.
but before we get to that, Atty. Edwin, balikan ko lang yung sinabi nyo. Pagka ba ganun, sabi mo kasi computer yon USEC, di ba? So, ano siya, can it be manipulated by human,
Yes.
Let's go there. Now,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
the
it
marketing
can.
people
User.
are saying blockchain will curb corruption. Is that a correct statement?
That's a sweeping statement.
So when you say sweeping, partially true, but not entirely true. What part is true and what part is not true?
What part is true is that blockchain is one of the many technologies
Right.
that you can bring trust into a digital document. That part is true. At least who produced the document,
May
not
trail, at
necessarily
least.
whether the document's contents are correct,
Yeah.
but at least who produced the document.
Correct.
He or she cannot deny it.
You know at least who will be accountable.
That's
Ito ba?
correct. But
What is not true? Where is the what is not true?
there it will not be able to see those that are not digital in nature.
Such
Like
as?
conversations, secret conversations at the halls of power,
Ilang porsyento ko sa commission, yung mga ganon.
whether or not yung yung Bids and Awards Committee ng isang government contract awarded to a particular contractor acted faithfully in the performance of their duties. Yung mga ganyan, hindi yan na
In
monitor
other
ng
words,
blockchain.
yung data itself, pag nandun na, kung ano yung na-encode na, pero yung process,
Yung process hindi niya mamamonitor.
Hindi niya mamamonitor.
And that's where I'm very, very worried. Kaya I was vocal about this. No? I love blockchain, don't get me wrong. Every technologist loves blockchain. I can be a fanboy of blockchain. Pero to say that, number one, it cannot be hacked, and then to say that basta linagay sa blockchain, totoo yan,
Yes.
may problema tayo doon.
Jeff, so klaro lang natin, blockchain is tamper resistant.
Correct.
So, and it's immutable kung ano nandun na, di ba?
Correct.
Pero so, ang sinasabi mo, hindi siya hack-free, not the system itself, but the
Even the system itself is
the
not
system-
hack-free.
Okay, because ang impression, all the extraneous factors, like sinabi mo, yung pinag-usapan namin cut ni Relly, yung mga ganun, that's beyond, outside.
Yeah.
Hindi na recorded. It's not entered into the...
Yeah.
That's correct.
Pero what in the system is not hack-free?
Di ba kanina diniscuss ko yung consensus?
Correct.
Yung papaano pagkakatiwalaan ng different computers or different nodes, yung nilagay ng isang node,
Right.
papasok ng ledger. I can influence that. For example, and that happened in blockchain's history.
Wait, sorry,
already.
when you say I, who is I?
I can act maliciously, for example, and I know a particular transaction happened, but would not publish it. Hindi pa. I will delay the publication. That's one. Number two, I will
you
influence
can only deny, but you cannot...
Delay.
You can delay, but you cannot deny eventually. Ganun ba?
pero
Kasi
sometimes-
once na-encode mo na at nandun na sa data, hindi mo na po pwede.
pero may
magagawa.
consequence kasi yung denial eh. Yung delay eh. Ang consequence kasi nun, as multiple transactions come in, nadi-delay din yung pagpasok ng mga transactions because the cryptogram has to be sequential. So pag na-influence ko yun, may ganun talagang attack, tawag eclipse attack. Pag na-influence ko yun, yung buong system magda-down. That's attack. That's an attack against availability. That's a hack.
That's an attack perpetrated internally?
On the blockchain itself. Kaya nga yung mga nodes, yun yung tine-check nila. Hoy, ikaw late ka magpadala kahapon, naapektuhan kami lahat. Ida-downgrade kita ngayon. Less trusted ka na. Kaya may ganun silang mechanism. That is not to say that the mechanism to hack or to influence the trustworthiness of the entire ecosystem does not exist. It still exists. Pwede nga ang gawin ko naman. Bombahin kita ng bombahin na sangkatutak na transactions. So dinelay ko. The next day, buuin ko. Di wala ka nang kausap kundi ako lang. And blockchain is
Anong
compute
pin-
intensive.
Pero,
Pinaka-
sorry, Jeff, pero pag government blockchain, tatlo lang ang ano mo tatlo ang pwedeng
Okay.
mag-enter So, DBM, COA, at saka DICT lang
Or another one.
Mas mabigat yun. Ganito wala namang, dahil sa inyo lang yung nodes, hindi naman ako node, di ka naman
Correct.
node,
Correct.
secretary Relly, hindi naman kayo nodes, no? Walang public na informed. Pwede, may isang possibility. Dahil kami lang nagko-control nito at may gusto kaming baguhin, o di i-down ko muna, tapos i-rebuild ko yung node. Madali lang yun, tatlo lang naman.
But there will be a change in the trail of...
That the public doesn't know it.
No, for as
Hindi,
long
hindi.
as you, all of you,
If all of you...
you will agree.
You will agree, you can change it.
So kung may
this
connivance,
conspiracy,
kung may connivance.
Correct. Kaya nga iniiwasan natin na tatlo lang or apat lang. Kaya nga blockchain works if it is massively distributed. In the case of permissionless. Ang concept kasi ng permission is, hindi naman kayo stakeholder dito. 'Di ba? Query lang naman kayo. Ang tinitingnan nyo lang naman yung data na galing sa akin.
When you say query, parang what is the
Chine-check mo
total
lang.
budget of
Para may check and balance
DPWH?
niya.
Ano bang budget ni DOST? Ano bang budget ni DPWH?
So
Yun lang naman
kung,
gusto mong tingnan.
kung ano yung nilagay mo doon, hindi rin nila ma-validate.
Yeah.
'Di ba? Oo, kasi nga basta alam lang nila ikaw yung naglagay and they just need to trust
Yes.
you that what you placed in that or you encoded in that system is correct.
Correct.
Just to be clear, it doesn't curb corruption. It makes cheating cheating harder, in effect.
Yes.
Because it's all visible.
Because it's all visible.
Pero hindi totoong wala ng corruption mangyayari. Kasi yan ang marketing talaga, ang lakas ng dating.
I think, nasosobrahan sa marketing.
Okay.
Delikado yun, ha? Kasi if people are led to believe that blockchain solves corruption, when the time comes that it's already online, like when the Cadena Act becomes, the Cadena Bill becomes law, pag tumingin pala ako sa computer system ng gobyerno, blindly, sasabihin ko, totoo yan, naka-blockchain yan Yun yung iniiwasan nating mangyari. Because
Hindi na magbabantay yung tao.
Hindi na magbabantay. Democracy works two ways, di ba?
Yeah.
Jeff, you mentioned pag the three of us, DBM, DICT, and COA, agree to edit it. So, mawawala yung trail? Babaguhin nyo from the ground up? Are you
Pwede
going
na gawin yun. Kasi permission yun
Akala ko hindi mo mabubura once it's there kasi 'di ba may time
Lahat naman
na siya.
yun yung palagi ko rin
Stamp.
kinokorek. Hindi mo mabubura yung trail ng buong transaction.
But you can erase the entire transaction.
So yung bawat linya sa isang libro, hindi mo pwedeng dilitin. Hindi mo rin pwedeng baguhin. Pwede mo lang ipakita na, oy, sorry, nagkamali, may bagong linya.
Yung series lang pala ang hindi mo pwedeng
Pero yung libro, pwede kong
kunin and
Sorry, mali.
parang hindi nag-exist.
resubmit tayo bagong libro.
Let me clarify that. Yung insertions, let's say the insertions kunyari sa BICAM,
Yeah.
if we decide to conspire and change it, mawawala yan? Hindi.
Okay. Yung insertions kasi, after the fact na yung blockchain.
Correct.
Nung nag-uusap naman tayo ng insertions, hindi ko pa na-blockchain.
Wala
yun,
sa process yun diba?
Wala. So,
kasi
hindi
kung ano
nakikita
lang
yan.
yung in-encode mo, yung pasado na sa budget, yun na yung nandun
So,
dapat.
my question to you, since it's permission distributed ledger, tatlo lang ang may ano. What is the solution that add more nodes?
Well, if they decide to make it permissionless, but that would be
But that's not-
very,
that's not-
very expensive.
For a government blockchain, that
doesn't-
cannot happen Because there are some data, government data that has to remain confidential.
Correct. And that's where perhaps the question, that's begging the question, no, Secretary. Perhaps that's the reason why not a lot of governments use blockchain in order to, monitor budgets. Diba? The Philippines first nga daw. Not even
Yun
Singapore,
nga
not even the
Yeah,
United
I was
States.
about to ask, anong government?
Because there are cheaper alternatives. If the only alternative or the only way you're using blockchain, the only reason why you're using blockchain is to prove authenticity of the document, there are other alternatives, like the
Cheaper.
public key infrastructure, which is already present in DICT. The public key infrastructure is a digital signature also.
Right.
Na nandiyan na sa DICT. Binili na ng DICT.
So what the hell are we doing with blockchain when there's a cheaper alternative?
Or
I don't know.
blockchain is more complicated, hindi na maintindihan ng taong bayan.
Well,
I
maybe they
mean,
wanted to say, they wanted to stay on top of the headlines and
Are
say,
we safe
wait.
if you mentioned Polygon? Are we safe if they become our provider?
Well, Polygon is being used pero mostly by crypto wallets. So,
ano
naman yan?
Yung DNA nila talaga is permissionless.
Correct,
At saka,
correct.
walang ano yan. So,
Although Bayani chain of Paul Soliman, naging guest ko rin yan si Paul, who's also a friend. Si Bayani chain is already being used by DBM for quite some time. So ito naman yung hindi alam ng publiko. Hindi ito first ng DICT. Ginagamit na ng DBM yung blockchain when you query DBM budget details.
how long ago was that? When did they institute that?
If I'm not mistaken, about mga 2 years na nilang ginagamit.
So itong Cadena Act is not the first pala na using blockchain techniques.
No,
Si DBM
DBM
is already using it.
And if they're using it already and they're still pursuing it, in their minds, it's working.
Correct.
Diba? Kasi they've been using it for 2 years.
Pero
and they
like
still
I
want
said,
to pursue
but
it.
only,
So,
again,
parang in their minds,
Wait.
diba?
Tama sandali. DBM is using it for 2 years. Yung mga kalokohan nangyari doon. I mean, Secretary Pangandaman
In 3 years time,
I
diba?
mean,
Oo nga.
the NEP was doing the insertions. Yung mga insertions, captured din ng DBM.
Kung nilagay nila.
Yung insertion,
What does DBM capture or encode?
yung GAA at saka yung SARO. So yung GAA and then yung special allotment release order.
So what's the point of GAA lang? Tapos na yung kalokohan eh.
Precisely.
Yun nga, kasi yung
Precisely
proseso
the
hindi
point.
naman na-capture.
Wait, so if you think that 4 nodes in a blockchain are not enough, ilan pa ang dapat isali sa node? But before you answer that, the spokes will return after the short break. And the Tech Bytes is back. The spokes is back still with you, Sec Jeffrey Andy. So the question is, you said na yung 3 madaling maano or 4. So would it be wise to add more authorities there?
More agencies.
More agencies. And if you think it's a good idea, what agencies do you think should be part of the permission structure?
Blockchain usually works with thousands of nodes. So it's not only hundreds. So the first thing that would make it better is to allow the public, anyone who wants to be a node, to be part of that particular network. Kahit ikaw, kahit ako, Sec Relly,
Pero anong risk nun, you said?
Okay.
Kung gagawin natin?
Compute heavy yun. Blockchain is one of the most compute heavy computations. Of course, AI is first. Pag sinabi kong compute heavy, hindi madaling maging computer sa isang node. Kasi it has to be 24/7 up. You must have the computational power and the storage power
Meaning it will
to
be
maintain
expensive
all
for
the ledgers
government.
It's expensive.
for each
Yeah, it will be
computer
more
in the node.
expensive.
It's a lot of power also.
So, pero kung halimbawa sabihin ng mga big time na auditors sa Pilipinas, no, na sige, punong bayan na Raulo, SGB, sabihin nila, okay, will be a node. Will be part of this entire infrastructure. Then, mas madaling paniwalaan.
Pero sa mo na hindi sila gobyerno so they cannot be doing encoding things, di ba?
Okay lang yan.
Wala. Oo,
Compute mo,
transparency
lang.
humihiram ka
Para
lang sa akin
nakikita
ng
lang
compute
nila.
power.
So may visibility lang.
May visibility lang.
Temo na, sinabi mo kanina, hindi namin alam ni Relly na 2 years ago meron na palang blockchain.
Yes, sa DBM.
Pero 2 years ago, so ngayon, lantaro na yung corruption, ano ginagawa ng blockchain na yan? It doesn't serve.
Paano siya nakatulong?
We thought that blockchain, exactly, this is a
Because they're
case,
still pursuing it now.
this is this is a proof of concept that blockchain does not curb corruption because 2 taon na pala may DBM and they're not capturing the data that should have been captured, di ba?
Good point, no? The flood
Or
control project scandal happened.
Did it help them in a way, pero kailangan pa ng improvement?
Well, pag hinimay mo yung flood control scandal, karamihan dito is before the budget was enacted. Diba? We're talking about a
When you say
program.
budget, the GAA, hindi to NEP, ha?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, it happened during the transformation of the NEP to GAA.
Yeah.
Within
Right,
that period. Yung period na yun, wala yun sa blockchain. So ito nga yung sinasabi ko. So, nangyari yung flood control project, meron ka ng blockchain. Pero hindi mo na monitor kung may project ba on the ground.
Kaya nga.
Hindi mo naman kasi blinaksin yun eh.
So if that's the case, DPWH should be part of that kapag flood control
Actually,
public
pag
infra project.
Dapat
Sure.
lahat. Kasi lahat may SARO eh.
Dapat lahat. So you're saying all the agencies should really be involved in
All
the
the,
node?
and external from government
And yun
as
ang,
well.
yun
diba?
ang mas magandang positioning.
Yun ang gusto natin
To
na
do audit,
magkaroon
auditable.
yung para maging transparent.
And be part of the node. Para kung gusto nilang, yung sinabi ko kanina na another way of going around it is, tanggalin yung buo and i-rebuild from start, kailangan pumayag yung isang
Teka muna, kung sabi mo mas mura, why should I go through blockchain when DICT already has...
Okay. I don't know what the plan of right now. Kasi kung dito naman ako mag-agree. Kung iba-blockchain nila yung payment in, payment out per transaction and wala ng cash sa gobyerno, puro digital payments tayo, ayan, mag-agree ako dyan.
Ay, hindi mangyayari yan.
Kasi kung yun ang plano at sinasabi nila...
At least matitrace mo yung money trail.
So kung sasabihin nila start pa lang ito, pero ending nito lahat ng payments malalagay sa isang digital ledger at lahat ng payment transactions pwedeng i-monitor even ng public, pwede kang mag-apply to be a node. Actually, hindi mo kailangan mag-apply. If you have sufficient computing power and storage power, just, may link yan Kunin mo,
pero
at pumasok ang computer mo, ay di, maganda.
Hindi ba yung risky?
Hindi.
Hindi,
siya
paano
risky.
kung ako, I have that capacity at sumama ako dun sa system, pero hacker pala ako and I just want to,
Yeah, the more
guluhin yung
nodes-
government.
Well,
diba? Oo.
kasi ito, government pero even in a crypto chain,
Nangyayari yan.
Oo nga
Correct.
So,
yun yung sinasabi ko na ini-influence mo yung
Yes,
buong
kaya nga, oo.
yung buong consensus
And
mechanism.
you're part of the ecosystem already. So, di ba, sabi mo nga, anybody can just do that.
Well, the way that the blockchain network treats it is that if there is still 51% or a majority is trustworthy, they'll be able to detect you. Hindi ako magde-detect, hindi si DICT, hindi ako. That entire network will see you're acting maliciously.
so in other words, the government has to ensure that I have majority control.
Hindi, pwede kasing internal yung hacker sa
Yun na
gobyerno.
nga, but separate from
But it
that.
has to be massively distributed. If you do not trust any type of transaction, it could still be permissioned, but it should be many nodes. Pero even the provider, Polygon, Chain will say that's a very, very expensive proposition.
So you're suggesting, so your proposal defeats the whole idea because it's so expensive and government has only allocated a certain budget for this.
Correct.
At saka, parang the way I hear it, I'm not techie, pero parang ang daming complication and ang dami ring risk. And
Yes.
yung bang risk na yon will compensate for what the benefit is for the, what will be the benefit for the country?
Does the benefit outweigh the risk?
Right now, the benefit does not outweigh the risk. No?
Really? The benefit of putting it on blockchain does not outweigh the risk?
Right now, kasi nga, ang ginagamit mo lang siya,
Not to mention the cost pa, dahil sabi mo, expensive.
kasi ngayon, ginagamit mo lang siya to put trust and accountability to a document. Like I said, there are cheaper alternatives to doing that right now. But if you're talking about safeguarding na yung bawat disbursement ng funds at lahat tayo naka-digital payment, baliktad na yung sitwasyon. The risks, the benefits now will outweigh the risks. Kasi magkano nawawala sa gobyerno due to this
But
type
can
of
we really do
disbursement
that?
corruption.
Hindi ba ganun sobrang matrabaho yon that every transaction kailangan mong
Well, that's the dream, no?
Yan yung talaga
Blockchain,
para may
diba?
ginagawa mo ng paper ngayon, gagawin mo ng paperless digital Pero ang
That's the
importante, meron
Okay.
talagang But so you're saying it's an end-to-end process. Right now,
Correct.
it only stops at identifying the contracts or the projects.
Correct.
But it does not extend all the way to payments.
Correct.
So if you track all the way to payments, so that means
Then,
Or can it just be
It
done
becomes,
in the payments lang and not the
Actually,
before
yun
the
na yung-
payments?
Tama na, Jeff, tanong ko lang. I'm the contractor, I got all the payments. But you also cannot capture ang lagay ko dito sa congressman na to.
hindi.
Hindi na.
Pero makikita ko na binayaran ka. Now, there could be a system of mass reporting na. And saying, dahil lang, bayad na pala itong contractor, sa Batangas yan Or sa ano yan sa Mindoro yan.
Nasa
Kunyari lang,
project
I'm sorry to the LGU officials there. I'm just picking a province at random.
Random.
And then, taga rito, wala naman So, anybody who has a
Can validate.
average IT background can validate.
Which is interesting because you can bring in BIR and they can already track the income of that. Because we have a lot of tax evasion issues here.
Correct. Again,
Which is not happening naman eh.
Knocks naman.
Again, dapat digital lahat yung payment mo. So wala ka na. Tsaka mahirap din, Sec Edwin, maglagay ng cash, ng hindi cash basis.
Hindi nga, lagay is really always cash, so there's no
Para
So walang trail yun.
Walang trail yun.
Pero di ba sa government naman ngayon, lahat naman talaga dapat digital na yung payment eh.
No.
Wala na nga checks masyado.
Di ba sa flood
diba?
control scandal, may nag-withdraw nga sa land bank ng...
Ayun nga. Hindi, pero kasi yun.
But the withdrawal is also not
intentional yan,
captured,
dapat
di
hindi
ba?
na
That
eh.
is the
Right now.
Right now. So
No.
you're suggesting also the withdrawal.
Yes.
But still it will
Again,
not...
there are alternatives. Ito nga yung sa akin, hindi kaya ng gobyerno. Di ba? Ito, just thinking out wildly. Hindi kaya ng gobyerno gawin yung blockchain masyadong, na end-to-end, masyadong mahal yan. May cheaper alternative ulit. Why don't we just create APIs for all government and then let the private sector query the APIs?
The API can be hacked.
Okay lang yun. Okay. Lahat naman kasi kayang i-hack.
Correct.
Ang importante rito is that you are now making information accessible to the public. Di ba? Parang, imagine meron kang app store. Di ba? Pag may Android ka o kaya may iPhone ka.
But you check mo.
And let
yung
the public
transaction.
create the software. Kasi you're
Open source, bale.
and then you're telling them, here are the government APIs. If you want to develop software that can query these projects, go ahead. We've already shown you the API. Then, instead of having government developers and contractors doing it with very, very expensive, you let the public do it. And kikita pa sila. Example, GCash or PayMaya or whatever wallet can just say, I develop an app where not only can you query and get your e-receipts when you pay your taxes or your real estate taxes to a particular LGU, but now you can use my app. Diba?
The problem there is government is going to derogate some of its authority because of that, di ba? There's a parang it becomes more distributed. Government, the role of government is centralized authority, di ba?
Wala namang authority kasi na kasi ang kanila is really just to monitor.
No, but
diba?
the issue of government is always controlled, di ba?
Well, the API is still
ano?
controlled by government. So they control, technically speaking, what is to be
They
exposed and
cannot
not.
do anything.
okay,
Like,
so what's
if I'm
exposed?
not government and I want to create that app, I cannot do anything but just to check on what's going on
Yes.
in the
Or you can expose...
the data, di ba?
Correct. Or you can expose the payment cycle itself in order to promote digital payments.
You cannot manipulate whatever is in
Wala.
the,
Wala yan.
Query
the
ka
app.
lang.
Query lang
Query ka
talaga.
lang. So,
di ba?
query lang
It's
siya.
transparency, di ba?
So right now,
Query or get.
Are
Kung gusto
you-
mong kumuha ng e-receipt, you also get the e-receipt.
are you aware? Kasi yung 2026 gaan lumabas na eh.
Yeah.
In fact, it's online. That's not in the blockchain, yung yung nilabas ng...
Well, ginawa ng DICT na ngayon, in-encode nila sa blockchain.
Okay.
But again, because DBM is already using this, most probably it's a PR event with DICT kasi matagal lang ang GAA and SARO naka-blockchain sa DBM.
Okay. So, okay sa'yo, this is a tough question, your stand on putting the entire national budget on blockchain. Is that something that you're okay with? It should be done.
Yeah. With all this discussion that...
Tough question.
What do you think, in your own opinion? Should we still pursue the blockchain?
I think the implementation is incorrect. But the concept,
Is good.
is good.
Let me ask you also this recent thing about the grok, diba? So, what's your stand on the ICT's move to number one, to ban and then lift the ban after grok does its corrective
Pero
measures?
explain muna natin ano yung grok, Atty. Edwin, for our audience.
So Grok is like ChatGPT, I guess. You prompt it to do a lot of stuff, like create a photo, summarize an entire thesis for you, summarize your conversations, even create templates for your presentations. So it makes your life easier. It's one of the many AIs out there.
And it is controversial right now because
It's controversial because Elon Musk, who owns X/Twitter and owns Grok, anti-censorship siya. No, unlike ChatGPT, he allows prompts like you submit a picture and say, "Can you remove the clothing?" And so you can see hindi yung totoong katawan niya, pero at least you can
AI.
see a deep fake of a particular person without clothes, in nude, no? And in recent days or past weeks, marami, di lang naman sa Pilipinas, marami sa buong mundo ginawa yan. Na famous personalities,
Yeah,
Hollywood stars,
Deep fake,
they uploaded pictures and say...
Even the president,
even,
di ba?
undress
So,
them.
number one, did DICT do the right thing in banning it?
Okay. Two answers, Sec, no? From a practical standpoint and as a government official, I think they achieved what they wanted. They put Grok on the table to discuss things.
Okay.
So they put them on the corner, showing that, no, you cannot just bypass government. So they showed, yung sinasabi mo kanina, the
Tama
central
naman.
authority.
Yes.
We're the central authority. We can ban you here. Pero it sends a chilling effect also to everyone. Parang now, pansinin nyo, may lumalabas na ngayong news na they're trying to force naman Facebook and all other platforms to verify the users with real identities. Because they can ban it, ito na yung chilling effect. Pag hindi ka sumunod, we will be like China.
We can ban also
We can-
Facebook and
we can
Twitter
remove
and
you
other
here.
social media platform.
Well, not baka access mo kung medyo creative ka, but it's ang average IT user naman.
Yes.
No, hindi ka naman,
Ay,
you don't go
katulad
to the...
namin, techie ka ba? Ako hindi.
Verify users. We have the same registration.
That's what may draft ngayon si DICT at nag-press con din yata sila about this. Gusto nilang gamitin yung SIM card registration data and merge it with a mandatory verification for all social media platforms. Ako, wala akong problema kasi lahat ako may blue check mark sa aking social media platforms, which means I'm verified. So gusto nila, at no cost to everyone, yung SOCMED account, yung SOCMED account, has to be verified and your number must be tied up to the database of the SIM card registration.
So which means that kahit mahack yun, dahil kung wala kang blue, what you call that? Signature?
Kung wala kang blue check,
diba? Oo.
so kung maraming gumagaya,
Yeah. So alam nila na, yung mga friends mo at least would know that that's not your account.
correct. Pero iba yung gusto ni DICT. Ang gusto niya, mandatory. Yung ngayon kasi yung blue check mark, ano yan? Optional sa'yo
Optional
yun.
sa'yo.
Ina-apply mo yun.
Sa may bayad yan. Kung XM, may bayad eh.
Correct, may bayad
Ang Facebook,
din yan.
wala.
Meron din.
Meron din. So, I'm being imposed a penalty for using a social media platform because not all people are well off to be able to pay the blue
Well,
check.
according to the rules
Yeah.
being drafted, di pa naman lumalabas, it has to be free.
Yeah. So another tough question, which among the social media platform available now, what do you think poses the most risk of scams and deepfakes, as you mentioned earlier, against our citizens?
When I was undersecretary, the most number of scams happens on Facebook Marketplace and Messenger. You'll be surprised, no? TikTok Marketplace is not so much. Lazada and other online platforms, not so much.
Parang hindi masyadong regulated kasi yung sa marketplace, eh, no?
Correct. Yung Facebook Marketplace kasi pwede kang yung nag-advertise ka lang na hindi ka registered. And then,
Yes.
You know, I'll tell you this, tama sabi yung Facebook, no? Because I got information that the two personalities that is most the subject of scam, alam mo sino? Si Senator Raffy Tulfo at saka si Ms. Tessie C. Coson. So lang ginagamit yung parang nagbebenta ng investment. Yun yung dalawa because that's based also on the information I got from Facebook. Talagang grabe talagang ano. So Facebook talaga dapat bantayan.
yes, siya rin kasi pinakamalaki sa social media platform.
Up till now.
Pinakamaraming member.
And remember, the ecosystem includes Instagram, Instagram is also Facebook owned by...
Right.
So yung di ba, Australia already banned yung mga minors nila. Do you think that we should do the same?
Technically speaking, you don't have to because bawal sa TikTok, sa social media, ang below 16 years.
Yeah. Parang automatic na yun dapat,
Automatic
no?
yan.
Na may parental guidance.
Correct. If you look at the end user license agreement, if you're below 16, you can't use the
But
platform
again,
supposedly.
it's in the implementation, eh. Diba?
Correct. So ako nag-agree ako doon. Ang tanong na lang, paano mo ma-implement yun?
Yeah.
Ngayon nga, technically, walang ban. Bawal yun eh.
Pero nangyayari pa rin.
Pero nangyayari pa rin.
By the way, Google has been fined by EU, but there's di ba, the United States federal law that protects social media platforms as not suable because they're just a platform. They don't provide content and all that. Do you agree that we should be able to find Google or the other platforms?
I agree with that Pero how do you do that if they don't have an office here? Walang office.
And then you mandate them to set up an office here.
Yan pwede. Yeah. And then they should also pay the taxes, that are required of them, etc. So they should set up an office here.
Yeah. Alam mo, Relly, mag-extend ang ating discussion to tech bites. But anyway, kulang ito oras
Madami
na to.
akong natutunan, Sec Edwin.
Thank you, Jeff. It's good that you're now part of Bilyonaryo, so you provide all the intellectual heft on the tech side. No?
Thank you.
So, anyway, digital technology can strengthen or weaken society depending on how citizens and government work hand in hand to use it for common good. We'll give you not just one side of the headlines,
Because every issue has two perspectives, and the truth may be somewhere in between.
I'm former Cabinet Secretary Edwin Lacierda.
And I'm former Cabinet Secretary Relly Fajardo.
And we are
the spokes.
And